Right, do a video today on our Range Rover L405. Now, I believe this video is exactly the same if you're on a Range Rover Sport L494 2014 on, or the big Range Rover L405 2013 on. I believe the front suspension's the same. What we're doing is upgrading the brakes. So we've upgraded these to the Brembo style 6-pot calipers, and we've gone for drilled and grooved discs. Now, the supercharged and the SVR cars with the 5-litre petrol had these big discs on them, okay, with the Brembo 6-pot calipers. Now, these aren't original Brembo, these are some others, and we'll probably put these for sale on the website. We've painted them red. We may or may not add them red on the website. I think what colour were they originally? I've forgotten. Black.
No, like a black, like a grey, dark grey, black.
Yeah. Ian's gone and put some graphics on. I don't know how long that will last. That's just showing off for the video. We'll see. We are going to show you how to upgrade this. We're going to show you what's in the kit. It's actually quite straightforward. It's not as scary as you think. And we'll also go and have a talk about what are the advantages of doing this. So the non-petrol cars had the same setup we've got on the other side. So let's go and have a look what's on the other side, and we'll discuss what the advantages are. So this was how our car was this morning. We've upgraded one side. So this has only got, actually I haven't looked, we'll have a look. So this is it, that's what it looks like on the car. This is what we've taken off, and also I'm going to show you what we will supply and what we've put on. So let's start with the disc. You can see that the new discs are bigger than the old discs. So you can see, if I put them both there, you can also see they're thicker that way. So you've got a bit more cooling. You've got a bigger gap here, so this vented disc for cooling. They also have the grooves on them. One point to note, when you get the discs, you get two discs. And you'll see the direction that these grooves in, I've put little arrows in. So as they go in, they're going clockwise. Now that's the right hand disc, okay? The left hand disc has got the arrows going, the slots going this way. So when you get the discs, make sure you get and refit them the right way round. Right, so the discs are bigger, they're fatter, we like that. Right. We will also supply in the kit some new calipers with brake pads. Now you can see the difference in area on the brake pad. Bigger area, F equals mu R I think is the equation for it, but you'll get more stopping, more friction, more wear out of the pads. So that's a good thing. Right, so you'll get a set of pads. You'll also get some calipers. Now, if you look at the calipers, they call them 6-pots. Because you've got 1, 2, 3 there, and 1, 2, 3 there, 6 pistons. And the hydraulic fluid is pushing all of those pistons against the pad. Now, why is that better than the old system? The old system has two, okay, they're bigger pistons, but they act, and then this goes on a slider. So you get sort of imbalanced braking because your initial reaction is pushing this one, which then pushes against this, which pushes against the other side, which slides the slider. So it's not as efficient or effective. You agree with that, Ian?
Yeah.
And a reasonable explanation? Right. Well, most of you guys will know all that stuff anyway. So what you'll notice is that the mounting points for the new caliper is, thank you Land Rover, exactly the same as the old caliper or slider as I've got in my hand. So everything lines up. Everything is dead easy to swap.
So we've done one side and it is just a straight bolt on. You use the same mounting bolt, same hose,
heat shield,
same sensor, wear sensor, everything seems to be exactly the same.
So if we're doing it like we do, what are we going to put in the kit? So we are going to put kit together, give us a few days to get this sorted. We are going to put in the kit some of the EBC Ultimax 2 brake pads. You'll get a set of those. 2 calipers. The calipers are handed. There's a left and a right. They're not the same because the bleed nipples need to be at the top. and you've obviously only got the mount in there, so they are handed, okay? So calipers, and they come with all the springs and the pins, a pair of discs, as discussed, bigger, and they're handed. We'll also put 2 of these bolts in, and you'll see why in a minute. We'll also put a new wear pad sensor in as well, I think.
We will do.
So you've got everything there, and you'll change everything. All your front brakes will be new. Right, what tools are you going to need to do it? Well, these are the tools we're going to need. Obviously, you're going to have to get your car jacked up, get it supported safely on axle stands. Then, it's not too fierce, so you're going to need your normal sort of hammering things. 21mm socket to unbolt the caliper holder. I think we're going to need a 13mm to unbolt the slider if you want to take that off separately.
Yeah, if you want to separate your old caliper, if you want to take the caliper off and then the slider off separately, like we have here, so splitting it into 2 pieces, you'll need a 13. But if you're just going to take it off all as one piece, then you just need the 21.
Right, this is key. This is the impact drive, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is going to get the thing off. So let's start with that. We've got a 40mm spanner. That was
That's for the hose,
the hydraulics, and some other bits and pieces.
Yeah, some snips and some lube and some
Copper
cleaner.
glue and yeah. Right, let's have a look. So, I got the gloves on. Ian's on the camera. Right. So, holding your brake disc on, do this first, because if you need to stop the disc moving, it's easier to do it with the caliper because you can jam a screwdriver or something in here. Right, so that's the Torx T50, that fitting. Make sure you get one of those before you start. Right, with these, if you turn it anti-clockwise as far as you can, put a bit of pressure on it, and then when I hit this, it should fire a little twist in every time I hit it, which should make that and I could have done this off, but this is why you want a new one of these.
Yeah, these really don't like coming undone.
Right, I think let's try a socket on that here now. See if that'll have a. Thank you. Right, let's have a go. Right, and this is where you want to jam something. We got something there. That spanner might have it. Just jam something on those. And again, we're replacing the vents anyway, the discs anyway. Wow, that is tight.
So copper grease your new one when you put it back on. So all it does is it just locates the disc. It stops the disc moving because your disc is actually held on by the wheel itself. So it's not doing anything to really hold or take any forces. It's just to hold it when you've got your wheel off.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why you want some new ones of them on there. This is the trickiest bit of the job, but you can see the rust that's built up on there. Right. Yeah, that's all pretty snarled up. And these, after you've had them off a couple of times, the cars are still quite new, but if you're watching this video in 5 years' time, chances are that disc's been off a couple of times. Right, good. Right. Then we've got to get on the back and get those 21mm. So I don't know if you can see where we're going there. Actually, we'll grab the car keys and spin the wheels, and you better see a bit better. Right, so we've got that in place, and you can see there, and we've got we've spun the wheel. That's it. I'll just loosen them with the long bar, and then.
And it's just straight down basically for the next one.
Yeah, 21mm.
I think they're the only 21mm that you'll find there.
Boy.
So where these little bellows are, there's a bolt on the back. That's your 13mm if you do want to split it in half. If you want to take this caliper section off separate to this slider section. But you will need to take it all off anyway.
So. What I might do is I might just, while this is all tight, loosen that hydraulic fitting and tighten it up again. Just while it's all, yeah, okay, yeah, that's, right, it's leaking.
Just to make sure you can get it undone.
Yeah, I'll just nip it up ever so gently so it doesn't leak, but I know then, later, right, we're all good. Right, socket, undo those 21. So we'll try and do the video in real time. It's a bit boring, but at least you can see.
You guys can skip on if you get a bit bored.
Otherwise you could use this video if you were just taking your brakes off or changing your discs. You'd be half useful. So Land Rover now apparently you can get those 6-pot Brembo calipers in a choice of colours. So we're looking at getting them painted. We've got the paint booth set up now, but initially we'll put them for sale just as supplied to us by our supplier. That's the big badger. That's him.
Bring the old disc with it there.
Yeah, that's right. We've got everything a bit loose, but we'll need it. Right, there we go. So there's, right, so that comes off with that, I think it's a heat shield, but you can't fit that, that doesn't go on with the new one. So you don't need that, but you'll need your 2 bolts. Okay, carefully, yeah, I've got it, I could have left that. It might have been easier to leave that in. Let me just try and...
Sometimes if you've got your old pads, they formed a groove on the disc, so they're a bit tight to try and get off. You end up with a lip around the edge of this disc where the middle bit's worn and the outside hasn't, and the pads have been.
So there's our disc off. And for now, we'll just cable tie that piston up out the way.
Cable tie the caliper up. That stops the weight being taken by your brake hose. Saves you damaging your brake hose. Because that's one bit we do need.
Yeah. Keeps it out of the way for the minute. Okay, that'll do. Right. Okay, so now you can see you could clean all this up. So they've got the heat shield here, you got your hub, and these are the mounting points where the pistons, the caliper's going to bolt on. So now we can put on the new disc. So obviously in the disc you've got your wheels, but you've got one countersunk hole here which has got to line up with the single hole we should have here. So he's near the bottom there. Anchor in. So a bit of copper grease just to stop that. The next person that takes that off shouldn't be so rusty as it was.
You don't want much. You don't want it flicking and spreading all over your brakes. You just need a little bit on the threads.
Right, where's my...
And it should fit on the socket.
Yeah, use that just unlikely for that. Now again, if you're painting your discs, paint the centre, but our friend Craig at Camtech, he said paint these bits because they do go quite rusty on your old disc you can see they get all rusty. So he said to us, and it's good advice, paint that edge as well, and then that'll stop that
So the only bit you don't want painted is the two brake surfaces. Obviously you don't want paint on them, that'll stop your brakes working properly.
Bad idea. Right, all ready for the caliper now. Right, so I'm going to swap to Ian, because Ian did this last time. Right, and I'm going to have a break. Right, and so what we've got to do is fit the pads.
Right, pads are retained by these two pins on the outside. So we can release that first. So you just push down on this big plate, and that means these pins are then loose to just come out.
And then let me just have a look at the pin. So the pins are sort of, they've got an end there. Oh, camera's not focusing very well. And they're slim, yeah. So they go in from the back side, yeah.
So yeah, they just loosely dropped in, but it's this spring that will hold. It's got some ramps here to keep your pads pushed out. It's got slopes here to keep your pads in place. We only need to take one out. That's all we need to do. We're going to put a bit of copper grease
just on the face of each.
Just on the face of each
piston.
Just where it contacts the pad. It'll help stop with brake squeal.
I don't know if it does, but everyone does it, so it makes you feel like you're doing it properly.
It's one of the things that they say copper grease is for.
Yeah. Anti-squeal grease.
And this stuff gets
everywhere. Yeah. Right, so let's have a look at the pads while Ian's getting all gloved up. So all four pads are the same, right, Ian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And any difference, and no trouble fitting the other.
And your wear pad sensor goes in where on these?
It sits in there. So there's two grooves because it depends.
Yeah.
Which way around you fit it.
So your wear pad sensor will go in here. Now, one thing while Ian gets all that ready. One thing that we didn't discuss, only on the left-hand side have you got the brake wear pad sensor, which is this cable coming down here. And one thing we glossed over is you need to pull that out of your old caliper, okay? So it literally just pushes out in that orientation. Yeah. And they're only a few pounds for the wire, so we'll supply a new one. Yeah, you can see this one started to degrade already, but that, you can see the finish on that is what goes into these little slots here. It's easier to see it with the calipers off. Right.
So you just, to replace that, just trace it back through all its holdings. They should just pull out of all their holdings, unclip it, put your new one in, follow the same route in.
If you get any problems, let us know, and we'll do a separate video. And if we do it, if we get it, we'll put a link there of how to change your brake wear pad sensor. Right.
Right. We've got these two hooks, one on each end, which is what our pad's going to be held by. So we hook.
Let's have a little zoom in there. You want me to hold it for you?
One on there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to roll it. Roll it out.
I got that bottom one. So it hangs off that one pin that we've left.
So it should hang off of there.
And then put the pin in. Oh, I can let go of the back one now,
Yep.
can't I?
So we hook this end with the two wings first. Drop that down, and then we should be able to. Oh, back it out. So it's got to go over the top of that spring. So I'm pushing down on this spring. Give it a wiggle through, and the pads will fight you a little bit, so it's not as easy to get in as it was to get out. Right, it should just then.
Now has it got a little lead in? Has it got a little taper on there?
It does, yeah. This one's sticking because this pad's a little bit low. So I might just need a bit of a tap.
Just a bit even, but you don't want to go too. Yeah, you don't want to go too heating, but sometimes a little tap.
And just give it a wiggle and just check that they're all sitting.
Let's have a look at it up from the other side. Yeah, that all looks good. So they're all sitting, and you just push that out there. So it should sit over the disc.
So they should go in.
Oh, And you get these two 21mm head bolts. Once you've got the first one's always tricky to get in, but the second one, you've got the space in then.
You've got to give it a bit of a wiggle and a twist.
Yeah, you should be able to get it in a few threads first. You don't want to go tightening that up until you've got it in a few threads, or you'll cross thread it.
There somewhere. A little bit low.
So yeah, you'll notice that you bleed nipples. If you've got the caliper right, your bleed nipples with the little rubber caps will be at the top here. If you got it on upside down, they'll be down the bottom there. Oh, sorry, if you got the wrong one fitted. Can I help you at all, Ian, or you got that as best you can? You take a bit of the weight.
I can find the threads. Making sure you've got everything square. Trouble where the pads aren't pushed out. You've got a bit of twist. So the last thing you want is to.
Right, I've balanced the camera down there, and see if I can help you. I'm just taking the weight.
Try the other bolt. Try the other bolt.
So, yeah, it's all. I can't remember if it was you or me that put the other side on. I think it was me, wasn't it?
Put the other side on. That was nice and easy, as always. The one off camera goes without a problem. That's it.
Right, that's the top one in.
There we go.
Yeah, the bottom one always. Yeah, the bottom one's because you've got the space in there.
You're just giving it a wiggle back and forth to make sure take the strain off the threads.
There you go, put your 21mm on. And yeah, obviously make sure this way you want to make sure. It's all going to go badly wrong if you cross thread it here, but yeah, as long as it's spinning nice and freely, we're good.
Wind them quite a way on.
Yeah, they're quite a. Right, so let's think. So what we're going to have to start doing next is bleeding the brakes. So we're going to have to find the brake fluid reservoir, and but before we do that, let's just check that these brake nipples are tight. And we're going to have to swap the hydraulics over next, aren't we? So that's what we'll do.
You might want to loosen them off and then tighten them up, same as we did before, just to make sure that you can undo them.
Yeah.
Ours we know we've had out because we've painted them, so we just need to make sure they're done up tight so they're not going to leak.
Again, you could get a set of Brembos off a scrap car or a break-ins car. You can get refurb Brembos, but the genuine Brembos do have Brembo written here. Always nice if you've got the budget to get some new Brembos, but these aftermarket ones are guaranteed for 2 years. They do appear to be the job. Right, so you got the 14mm spanner there. So the next job we've got to do is undo this little fitting. I know the camera's going to catch up with me. It's not got enough light. We've got to undo tap the screen, Ian says. Yeah, I've just not enough. We're going to undo the fitting here, which is a 14mm socket, and then that will release the hydraulic hose. And then we've got to reconnect the hydraulic hose on the back of the caliper here. Now, there may be a plastic plug in there that you need to pull out, but it's sort of in line with this central pin here. It's there, so I'm going to put that in there. Now there's a little slot. Let me see if I can get in down here. There's a little slot where the brake cable, the brake pipe goes straight down, and there's a little guide to guide it. So you do have to get it in the right place. Right, Ian's got his gloves on. Brake fluid's not nice. So one thing you will have to get is get yourself some new brake fluid. So while Ian's just dismantling that, we've got our new Doc 4 brake fluid, so you will need some of that. We won't put that in the kit because that's readily available from Halfords or your local motor factor. Okay, so you got we got that one off then, Ian? There's fluid coming out. So.
Yeah, you will do because it's on a banjo fitting. Just trying to expose some of those threads, but you can see there that the little nub, the extra nub on this side
for location into that slot
down, and that engages,
and that stops the hose moving up and down. There should be a copper washer either side of that banjo bolt, and that all just bolts in. The hoses are the same length on the supercharged as the normal one. All bolts in with the same fitting, so they really have made it plug and play-esque, haven't they? Yeah. So obviously, yeah, if you're doing this outside, make sure you put something down to catch the brake fluid. You can get hose clamps that clamp onto the rubber hose. I've never found them that effective, but it does reduce the amount of fluid you'll lose out there. Right, so we obviously need to cut off our old dangling caliper. So we've got the brakes netted. You can't drive the car now. You do need to bleed your brakes. So you'll get air in the brakes, and a hydraulic system will not work with air in it. We'll do a separate video, I'm going to say, on bleeding the brakes, or should we have a quick go now? Right, we'll stop that there. We'll clean up. Ian's cleaning up. That's 90% of it done.
That's it installed, so now it's just a case of bleeding your brakes. If you know how to bleed your brakes,
skip on. Go and order the stuff now. We'll put the link when we've got it down below in the comments so that you can go to our website and buy it, but you're welcome to buy them anywhere, and I hope this video's helped. But yeah, next step, stick around if you want to see us. We'll find the brake fluid reservoir, open it up, and bleed the brakes. Right, so we've got all the brakes on, and we're going to do the brake bleeding. So what do we need for brake bleeding? So let's have a look where the brake, no, let's start here. Right, so if your brake fluid is old, and it's looking all horrible and yellow, we've got this sort of horse insemination syringe or something. You can buy these on eBay, they're quite comedy value. And we put a bit of, so you could suck all your old brake fluid out, which saves pumping it all through the system. But where we've changed the calipers, we haven't got much left, so we're not going to worry with that. We have got the little brake bleeder here. This one's quite good. And we're going to connect that onto the bleed nipples. And you're going to need your brake fluid. Do you want to just demonstrate the top? Normally brake fluid, I don't know why they do this. It comes just with a normal top, and pouring it's tricky. So we've nicked the top off some transmission fluid, which has the little proboscis thing. And we find that a lot easier to pour. Right, where is the brake fluid? So it's up in this top corner. There's 4 of these little things. Now you have to spin these until they sort of separate, and then you have to lift them up. And they're these little 2-part fittings. Right, so how many of those? There should be 4. I think we got one missing. And then this, sometimes if they just spin, you have to sort of hold the bottom bit. But there we go, Ian's got them. And then that little secret panel comes out. So we'll chuck that on the table. And then what you've got here is your brake fluid reservoir. And you should check this periodically anyway. But having said that, it has got a sensor on it. So I guess it's fair enough they've hidden it away, because the sensor should tell you when your brake fluid's level. Now you don't have to disconnect that sensor. You can just spin, they've designed it so you can just spin that lid there and then lift that up out the way. Let it drip off a little bit. Right, and then tuck that round out the way for the minute. So that's where we need to make sure we fill up the fluid. And it looks like they've got a little filter in here. I don't know. Will that come out, Ian?
Usually they don't. Sometimes they're built in. Sometimes
Yeah,
they just leave.
there is a little filter there, so that if you're using a dirty, horrible pot or you get some dust in it, stops it getting into the brake system, which is good. So, right. So with all, first of all, make sure all your bleed nipples are tight. Otherwise, you'll be pouring it in and it'll be pouring out. So ours are all good. Then we're going to start on. Ian's just going to double check. I'd also check that Ian's gone round and checked that we've jacked up the rear, and Ian's checked that they're all loose, because sometimes they're seized. So you might as well, before you start putting fluid in it and messing about, check they're all loose and then nip them back up again. Right, let's do it. Let's put some brake fluid in. Then normally they say start on the furthest point of the car, so I think we'll do that. It seems to be some convention. Right.
Oh, we want to do that.
You're going to have to bend the proboscis and... Oh, look at that. No pressure. That's going in, and can you see it coming up? Is that semi-transparent, that? Semi. Not as transparent as it could be, eh? Right, so obviously the trick is when you're bleeding, a lot of you guys know this stuff and you'll be skipping forward, is to make sure you don't suck air in. So every few pumps you've got to just check that you're topped up. I think you can get a good 8 or 10 pumps out of it.
It looks like it's a pretty big cylinder.
Yeah. Oh, he's drinking plenty there, isn't he?
I'm just going to overfill it till I can see it's coming.
Yeah, because you know it's going to go down.
That's where those syringes are handy as well, because you can just...
You could have used the proboscis hinge.
Yeah, you can. We don't have to worry about overfilling it.
Yeah.
We know we can take some back out again with the syringe.
Right, then grab the bleed kit in. Oh, I got the gloves on here. You can do the camera. Go on. You can have a nice clean job. Right, here we go. Right. So let's come round here. So basically, this is just a tube that goes into a bottle. The end of the tube's in the liquid to stop it sucking air back. It's just a handy. Whoa, where are we going?
Right to the far corner.
Right to the far corner, right. So you reckon all these calipers... So, it's got a little dust thingy on it. So let's have that off. Well, that's nice. They don't last long, do they? I reckon I can put it on first if I want. And then
They were fairly free moving, these back ones.
You could take them all the way out and put a bit of copper grease on if you're super keen. He's a bit stiff. There you go, right then. Okay, right. You give that to me, Ian, and you go and do some pumping up and down, and we'll have a look. We'll have a look how dirty the old fluid coming out of here is. Yeah, it's coming. It looks quite clean actually, but keep going. Let's see what's in the fuel lines. Fuel lines. Brake fluid. Brake fluid's hygroscopic, so it absorbs water. So it is worth changing it periodically. That's all crystal clear. I've got no air in.
No, we shouldn't do it at the back there.
Shouldn't do, no. Yeah, push and hold it down. Not that it makes a lot of difference. Yeah. And then I'll tighten that one back up again. Right. And I'm gonna put the dust cap back on. Yeah, I'm all sweet and good. Right then. Oh, I'm dribbling. Alright then. I'm trying to film and do it at the same time. Right, we'll do the other back one, which is much the same, and then we'll join you again for the front. Right, so we've done the back, so now we've come to the left-hand side. Obviously it's a right-hand drive car, it might be different, but this is furthest from the brake reservoir. Yeah, that's one point to know. On a left-hand drive car, the brake reservoir is going to be under this side, not the other side. Right, for our American friends out there. Right, so we've got two bleed nipples, one here and one over the other side. You've got these dust caps on again. Alright, so these should be full of air. Right, it's quite tricky to get your spanner. You ain't got much. There you go, there it comes. Right then, so swap over again. Right, and let's see Let's look at the air come out of the hose here. Yeah, that's coming. Yeah, that's looking good. All the air we can see coming out down here. Oh, if I can find it. There you go. All the air's coming out. Oh, that's running pretty clean now, Ian. Alright, let me do that one, and then I've got to do the one on the other side. Yeah, hold down. Okay. I'll put the little dust cap back on that. And then do that back one there.
The bleed nipples on those sit really vertical. They seem to do a really quick job of bleeding the air because they're so upright and they're right at the top of the caliper. So
yeah.
There's nowhere for it to get trapped.
Actually, do you want to grab a camera? I've got. There we go. Right, get a bit of air out of this other side. Let's have a look where it is coming out here. No.
Feels pretty firm.
Yeah, but it's definitely fluid coming out. Oh, it was a bit of air. Oh, a bit of air.
That pedal's feeling firmer than it was.
Alright, that's good. Hold it down. Nip that off. Sorry, camera peoples. I can't hold it in. Nip it up. Right then. So that's that. I can take that off now and flip the dust cap on. Right. We'll
point to note, I have been topping it up between each brake.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, you don't want to let that. So we'll do the last one and then come back and see how it's all doing. So we're approaching the end of our brake upgrade project. It's all looking good. Right, one little bit we're adding on the end of the video here. We are going to start the car. So why are we going to start the car? When you start the car, your servo will come into action and we're going to press the brake, and with the servo going, you're going to get a higher pressure in your hydraulic system. We're going to do that. Why? So that if there's any leaks under the super high pressure with the servo, we'll see them. So we'll go around and check we've got no fluid leaking, and also it will make sure that these pads are pushed fully against the disc so that when we drive it out the workshop we don't go crashing. And obviously the first, I don't know how many miles do you reckon you have to drive your car? I guess it depends. Your first trip out, take it easy because your brake pads are bedding in and the stopping, especially as there's like a coat in.
It depends on the pads as to what ones you've got. Some say they've got like a shorter bedding, wearing in life and stuff. These ones, they've got the red coating on them. That's your bedding in. So
but it's got these grooves on the disc, so that should help. That should help clean the discs up, not the pads up nice.
So the red coating on the front of that pad, you can just see there, is
a sort of soft sacrificial one, is it?
And that's your bed. I think that's just your bed. I think they just dye the first layer so that you know when you're past your bedded in stage. So you should be able to see that from the back of the pad as well as the front.
Basically, don't go racing all the little Fiestas on the road until you're taken out a couple of times. Right, go on, let's get this going. Right, so there we go. So it started. Now, press the brake pedal. Let's get a nice big press on that, Ian. Yeah. You on it? Right, we'll go round, check there's no. And let's see, take it off, Ian. I don't know if I can, yeah. So you can see that, right? On, off. Yeah, we can move that. Right, so there we go. We'll put the link down below for the brake upgrade kit when we've got it listed and photographed on the website. Drive safe, have fun.